let me tell you about the most immersive narrative experience at a large scale that you can attend, and why I had so much fun at the Warhammer 40K Grand Narrative 2023 event. My name is Matthew from MiniWarGaming.com. I love wargaming, but especially I love storytelling through the medium of wargaming. An event like the Grand Narrative is the perfect place for me to be. I went last year as well. The Grand Narrative 2022 was the first one that Games Workshop had ever put on, and it was fantastic. It was run by some passionate people. They actually had every room decorated and themed with music and ambiance. Each of the main factions was run by a person who was an awesome cosplay. I got to meet Fred and Elle of Fred and Elle Designs, and it was just a fantastic experience. So I knew that I had to go back again this year, and probably next year, and the year after that, and the year after that. This year it was in Atlanta, Georgia, and in this video I want to take you through the whole event so you can experience a fraction of what I did, and hopefully encourage even more of you to attend in 2024. So the first question is, what is the Grand Narrative? Well, it is an event, very simply, much like a tournament where you organize lots of people to go play games against each other over the course of a few days. But unlike a tournament, the prize isn't who can win. The prize is, what story do we tell together? So even though it is competitive and you join one of the three factions, typically Imperium, Chaos, and Xenos, really you're trying to create a story together, and you cheer on each other's victories and also those epic moments that create the best wargaming experiences that we do have. We were told to bring 3,000 points of whatever we wanted for our faction. We were going to be using the Crusade rules from Warhammer 40K, which are rules that allow you to upgrade your units as they play games and work towards a goal. For example, I was bringing Tyranids, and so my goal was to consume a world. So I was limited to 3,000 points, and so I was just trying to figure out what I wanted to bring. So let's take a closer look. Let's look at characters first. We got a winged Hive Tyrant. We've got a winged Tyranid Prime, and I went for no-name characters this time because named characters can't upgrade. We got a Broodlord over there, and I think that's all the characters. Oh, and a Termagant is another character. And then for my battle line, I got 2 units of Termagants, half Fleshborers, half Devours, a unit of 20 Hormagaunts, a big unit of 20 Gargoyles. And then for other, we've got Genestealers to go with the Broodlord. Obviously for the Vanguard, we got 2 Lictors. Oh, it's supposed to be 2 Neurolictors. I got to grab another one of those. And we got Warriors. That may or may not go with him. And then we got some monsters. We got a Tyrannofex. We got 2 Harrospexes. Although one is magnetized, be able to switch to an Exocrine, but still I'll play him as Harrospexes. A Norn Emissary, and then a Screamer Killer as well. Okay, all packed up, ready to go with my polka dot suitcase, and hopefully my miniatures survive the trip. But goodbye, Welland, Ontario. Here we go. Okay, welcome to downtown Atlanta. This location is awesome. It's an enormous hotel that allowed us to have all the space that we needed. I was able to meet up with some people and even admire some of the wonderful cosplay that they decided to wear. And that evening, we had our first event briefing. This is where we get to meet all the Vox Localums, which are the people who will be running each of the rooms in full cosplay and in character, as well as the 3 main faction leaders. Much to my delight and surprise, in comes Elle and Fred from Fred and Elle Designs. Now, why is that to my surprise? Well, Fred has been battling some pretty serious health conditions. I might get some of the details wrong here, but it was something akin to blood cancer. And he has gone through a lot of treatments, and they even moved from Florida so they could get some better treatments as well. And they've gone through a lot, like a heck of a lot. In fact, it was quite a surprise that Fred was still alive at this point. And having met Fred and Elle last year, I fell in love with these 2 individuals immediately. They were just kindred spirits. They were just hardcore nerds, and they loved the storytelling aspect of the hobby. So to watch them walk in, I remember when Elle walked in, my heart leapt. I was so excited to see them there again and see that Fred was well enough to be able to attend an event like this. Now, I'm going to actually put a link in the description to a GoFundMe for Fred and Elle because a lot of their expenses for their medical expenses have really been hard on them in that case. They run a cosplay creation business, but Fred hasn't been able to do that as much as he was before because of his health problems. So if you want to help them out, I'll leave a link in the description below. Each of the faction leaders introduced the overall feel of the whole grand narrative, giving their insights as to what it is that they were trying to accomplish. We learned of a mysterious entity that is in this planet that we were on, that was beckoning us all in. We found catacombs beneath this world, filled with all sorts of strange things, shrines to all sorts of religions. The Emperor of mankind right next to shrines of Xenos gods and even Chaos gods. What could allow people to live in harmony in a universe such as Warhammer 40k? That was what we had to find out.
We're in our first destination, the Forge. It's getting allocated to our tables right now. Lots of us.
Okay, I'm ready for my first game. Woo! We got Imperial Knights with CW. Where are you from, CW?
Atlanta, Georgia.
Are you from here? Yeah. Awesome. And we got my Vanguard Assault Swarm ready to go. I'll take some better pictures in a second.
This was a bit of a tough battle, as I didn't manage to kill a single model. But the fun thing about Crusade is even when you lose, you still get to upgrade your guys.
So yeah, I got tabled. I got like nothing. I got to roll 1,000,000 battle scars. Woo! First game. Whew. Well, I may have lost badly tonight, but I still got some cool upgrades. My Brood Lord is now +1 toughness with the squad as well. And I got some biomass, so I'm slowly going to take over that world anyways. Won't be able to take it over like I did last year because it requires more games, but let's take a look at more stuff that's going on right now while I'm waiting for the next game.
I then walked around and saw how everybody else was doing and just enjoyed seeing all these armies and these locations, the epic immersiveness that was the grand narrative.
Game 2. After some mix-ups, I'm back at the same table. We got David here, and he's fielding his Death Watch against my Tyranids. This time I'm going Pressure Stampede, change some stuff out. So I think I'm going to kill at least one model this time, unlike last game.
But partway through, we got interrupted by the Inquisitor, the leader of the Imperium faction. So we thought.
I have reinforcements incoming, but the machinations of the Exalted One are disrupting our communications network. In order to facilitate the arrival of our reinforcements, I require teleport homers set up in the peripherals of our battlegrounds. Do you understand?
Yes, sir!
Yes.
Carry on.
In case you couldn't hear that, basically he was instructing the Imperium side to deploy teleport homers towards some greater mission. And this is the cool thing. The games you played, yeah, you were trying to beat your opponent so that you could upgrade and you could do your thing, but you're also trying to accomplish secondary objectives that even if you lost, would affect the overall campaign and who would come out the victor. So you didn't have to just go in and win your games, you had to go in and think about how you're going to influence the greater story, which is just a great way to do it.
Day 2 of the grand narrative. Lost my voice a little bit because I have to yell for people to hear me. There's a lot of people who are playing, obviously. But had a decent night's sleep, which was unusual for me, so it's kind of nice. Then had a lazy morning. Just kind of slept in and stuck around the hotel room. But now I gotta head down for my briefing in game number 3. So let's see how the Tyranids do today. So I think I'll do Endless Swarm and maybe Synaptic Nexus today. So I'll try something like that. Can't really do the one where you need assimilators, the Assimilation Swarm, because I didn't bring any assimilators. So I won't be able to do that one. But I'll probably do those 2. And then I have 2 games on Sunday, so I'll do the regular one. My brain is mush right now. The Invasion Fleet, and then I'll just repeat one of them. We'll see what happens.
Yeah. Woo! Pact Resistance! I'm getting dizzy.
Started to wonder about our leader in our morning briefing. Could definitely see some influences from a certain chaos god, but probably not. Game number 3, there was another mix-up. It seems that our battle group, our group of 10 people who stuck together the whole time, were cursed. Because everybody else was fine, they got mixed up to different rooms, and yet we kept being pitted against the same opponents. And so here I was faced off against my same Imperial Knight player, so we switched tables.
So Dominic and I are doing 1,500 points each against Adon's Titan.
And it was a blast. Game number 4, the same mix-up happened, but we're in a new location, and I said, screw it, I'll play the same player again, playing Imperial Knights for the 3rd time in 4 games.
Game number 4. It's this guy again, CW. We got matched up. It's okay, I'm out for blood.
We had an awesome intro from our Vox Locale, the dude running the entire room. This was Bogo. Bogo was actually there last year, and I met him, and he's an awesome guy, and he's totally dedicated to the narrative side. So I'll even put a link to his channel, some social media links down below so you can check them out. I'll try to put links to as many people as I talked about here in the description. I still lost against the same Imperial Knight player, but this time I got to kill some models. So, that's all that matters, right? Just have some fun. End of day 2 had us actually setting out armies for army showcases. So I actually got to be selected to put mine out for the painting competition. I did make sure to tell the organizers that I only painted part of it. My goal was to paint everything that I brought, but I just ran out of time. And so I had the help from awesome local painters like Paul Chartrand and Dan Platt and Gary Rudak. I'll try to remember to put their links in the description below, but they're all awesome painters. Actually, you know what? Don't contact them because I need them free for when I need more work done. But they're all great guys. You should definitely get them to do some of your stuff, especially if you're a local to Welland, Ontario.
Okay, it's Sunday morning, so day 3-ish, I guess, of the campaign. To go down and have some breakfast and then go to game number 5. Didn't sleep very well last night, so I'm a little tired and my voice is getting really deep from yelling this entire time. But I'm having fun, so it's all good. Let's go have some more fun.
We go to our briefing, and at this point I'm like, okay, I think our faction leader is totally following Tzeentch, but you know what? As long as I get to eat and consume more biomass, sure, I'll let it slide. We'll go a little further here.
And I'm fighting against Ryan, who's not playing Imperial Knights.
I got pitted up against an AdMech player, and we had a great time. I even had some lucky opening salvos across the table and took out some of his tanks. In the end, it was a Tyranid victory. My last game, game number 6, was probably my favorite. Even though all the other opponents were awesome, I played against Custodes.
My final game is against Blueberry Custodes. We're already charging forward in the first turn because they could scout and then advance and charge on some of them. Got Brian. Hey, Brian.
Hi.
I have to tell you about one moment though, and this is why I love narrative stuff. As we're playing, my Hive Tyrant decided to charge into a group of Custodes. He used a stratagem to get fight first. And I'm like, oh great, what's gonna happen? And I did a roar. So the one detachment has a stratagem where the monsters, when they're getting attacked, can do a roar, which gives the -1 to hit for the attackers, but also forces a battle shock test, which if they fail, their morale has crumbled and they get -1 to wound. Well, he failed tons of these all game long, and he failed that one too. And so they struck at that Hive Tyrant, and he survived without a problem. And then I used a stratagem, which is a special thing you can do in the game, to basically pick out the captain that was in the group. And I did an epic duel where the Hive Tyrant pushed his way past all of the Custodes guards and just shoved an enormous, monstrous bone sword straight through that Custode captain and killed him. The Hive Tyrant went down in the end, but that was probably my favorite moment of all 6 games, was just creating epic, awesome stuff like that, that the dice just go in your favor and allow you to tell such an awesome story.
Well, I am sufficiently pooped. Finished game 6, taking a bit of a rest, get some dinner for the final award ceremony. It's awesome. That's all I gotta say, it's awesome.
At the end, just before the award ceremony, decided to see who wanted to come back next year.
Do we all like the grand narrative? Yeah! Heck yeah, we did! Woo! Grand narrative! Grand narrative! Should people come next year? Absolutely. Did you have fun at the grand narrative?
I did.
Should people come next year to the grand narrative? Yes!
Then we headed off the award ceremony. Here, they handed out awards for who managed to complete the most objectives, who won the most games, who lost really poorly, which battle group did the best, which battle group did the worst. And in the end, they announced the overall winner of the thing. which I'm going to be honest, I don't even remember. I think it was the Xenos. I think we won. All I know is that there was awesome moments, like the Inquisitor turning out to be a heretic and getting executed in front of all of us. Talk about dedication to a role. And at this point, I was, very sure that our faction leader had gone full Zinch. I don't know, what do you think? I have to say a huge thank you to all the staff that run it. The people who, of course, planned it, like Zach, he's awesome. But I'm thinking specifically about the people who come and dedicate themselves in cosplay and wear that all day long and run the rooms and yell and lose their voices. Big thank you to all of them. And of course, it was great to see Fred and Elle again. Now, I can't wait to go back next year, but I have some big plans. I've already talked to some people about this, and it seems like a lot of you are already in, but let's see if I can get even more. Next year, I want to find 9 other people, or maybe even more, but 9 at least, who are willing to go there and bring one massive hive fleet. It could be Genes to the Cults and Tyranids, but here's the catch. Most likely we'll be bringing 3,000 points each next time. I want us all to paint them to the same color scheme, the same basing, the same everything. And each person to build a diorama that will be linked together into one giant diorama for the Army Showcase. We'll then sign up to be in the same battle group together so that we'll always be together. And if there's like 20 of us instead of 10, we'll do 2 battle groups instead. And if there's 30 of us, we'll do 3 battle groups. Or maybe we'll get 100 of us to do one massive 300,000 point Tyranid fleet. Wouldn't that be awesome? Even just the 10 would be 30,000 points. That would be awesome. So, if that's all I get, that's great. If you're interested in being one of those people. Now, what this means is you'll have to dedicate to coming, at least somewhat dedicate to coming next year, which will be around the same time, the week before American Thanksgiving. It'll be the same location, Atlanta, and most likely bringing 3,000 points. We don't have any details of next year's yet, except that's going to be the date and the location. And so that means that you'd be building a new 3,000 point Genes to the Cult or Tyranid force to a color scheme that you most likely won't pick. We might vote on it together, but most likely you won't be picking it. And also working on making a diorama. Cosplay optional. Maybe we'll get t-shirts made or whatever. I'm getting carried away here, but if you're interested in this, email me, Matthew with 2 T's at MiniWarGaming.com. You can also, you know what, that's the best way. Just email me. I had so much fun. I cannot wait for next year. I can't wait to do more narrative stuff here at MiniWarGaming. And I just hope that you get a bit of inspiration, even if you can't attend, to run awesome narrative stuff of your own, even with just with a few buddies at your own local store or in your basement. Just the narrative is so much fun. I think we should focus even more on it in the coming year. Thank you so much for watching. Happy New Year and happy Wargaming.